What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green?
I can ask, but he's not going to. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Echoes of the Past, where history isn't just old, it's oddly fascinating.
From forgotten facts to bizarre backstories, we dig into the dusty corners of time so you don't have to.
I'm Jody Lynn, your amateur historian and full-time trivia hoarder.
And I'm Ephraim, here for the facts and the fun.
So let's rewind the clock and press play on the past. Alright, the word that never died, outlaw. It's one of those words that immediately conjures an image: dust, leather, gun smoke, maybe a horse kicking up dirt, somebody outside the rules, someone dangerous, someone free. But that's wild. What's wild is that the outlaw didn't disappear into the Wild West when it ended. They adapted. The clothes changed, the weapons changed, the speed changed. But the core idea? Someone deciding the system doesn't apply to them. Tonight, we're starting with stagecoaches and six-shooters and ending with armored gunmen walking into modern cities where cameras are everywhere and escape is almost impossible. Same title, completely different game.
Originally, being an outlaw wasn't romantic at all. In medieval law, an outlaw was literally outside legal protection. If you were declared one, anyone could kill you without punishment. No trial, no rights. That concept carried forward. By the 1800s in America, an outlaw was someone who rejected the authority of the law, couldn't rely on legal protection, and often survived purely on reputation and fear. But here's the key thing people forget. Most Old West outlaws weren't born criminals. They were created by chaos.
The Old West, where outlaws were born, was post-Civil War America, and it was a mess. Veterans with combat trauma, entire regions destroyed, weak or non-existent law enforcement, massive economic inequality. If you knew how to use a gun, you already had a skill set most people feared. That's where figures like Jesse James came in. Jesse James wasn't just a robber, he was a former Confederate guerrilla. His crimes weren't random, they were political, personal, and vengeful. Banks he robbed were often connected to Union interests, and the press loved him. They framed him as a Robin Hood figure, which was almost entirely a lie. He didn't give money to the poor, but the idea struck. Same thing with Billy the Kid. He was likely responsible for fewer than a dozen killings, but legend inflated that number into the dozens. Why? Because he died young. Because youth plus violence equals myth. This is where the outlaw becomes a story and not just a criminal. You and I were talking about Billy the Kid the other day.
Yeah, on where they don't really know where he's buried.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the one museum in New Mexico that says that his body's buried right there at their little museum for him.
Mm-hmm. And then the town I grew up in, which is Hamilton, Texas, right outside of Heico, Texas. Both of these towns both say that he's buried there as well. And he's not really in Hamilton's little history museum thing, but Heico has like a whole like mini museum / store thing for him. And they both say that he's buried there too. So I feel like with Billy the Kid, he has a lot of like myths and stories surrounding him, but I think only like it's saying a fraction of it's actually true.
Yeah, I mean, from what I know, because I was really young when he was doing it.
Like 12, wasn't he?
I don't remember. And there's only like, as far as I'm aware, one confirmed picture of him that exists.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Stagecoach robberies weren't chaotic shootouts like movies show. They were precision crimes. Routes were predictable, payroll schedules were known, and drivers were often threatened, not killed. Many robberies ended without a single shot fired. These outlaws relied on surprise, fear, and the fact that help was hours away. One lesser-known detail, many stagecoach robbers were tipped off by employees, guards, station workers, even drivers. This was early insider crime. And then came trains.
Isn't there a stagecoach robbery thing in Red Dead?
Yeah, there's a couple missions where you do it.
And you're tipped off by the dudes at the...
Yeah, so the first one, or one of the ones, when you're in Rhodes, you go talk to one of the train station clerks, and he tells you, like, oh,
it's the dude with the black hair. Looks real greasy.
He gives you a note on a stagecoach you go and rob, and then you go obviously go rob it. But there's quite a few stagecoaches. You do the one with the armored one with Micah, the one with Uncle Charles and Bill.
I forgot about that one.
There's a third. There's one you do with Trelawney where he distracts the singing lady.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's quite a few stagecoach
And then you can just
ones.
do it out in the wild if you see one.
Just whenever you're doing the free roam, you can do it just by yourself.
Yeah. After stagecoaches, trains kind of changed everything. They carried gold, payroll, government mail, and a huge public attention amount. Robbing a train meant national headlines. Some gangs practiced derailments. Others timed robberies to specific stops. Some even built wooden replicas of train cars to rehearse the job. This is where the Pinkertons rise to power, private detectives hired by rail companies. They weren't law enforcement, but they had guns, money, and authority, and they hunted outlaws ruthlessly, which forced criminals to adapt again.
Yeah, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, there's also lots of train robberies.
Oh yeah, 100%. I like how...
There's like the one in the intro.
When you first start, yeah.
When you first start. There's the one you do with the Irish dude. What's his name? I don't remember. I think it was Sean.
Yeah.
Um,
His death made me cry, I'm not gonna lie.
There's another one. No, that's the same one. I think those are the only two I remember. But you can also...
There was one where they did Cornwall's train.
Yeah, that was the first one.
And then there was another one that had all of the munitions on it. Because those were two different ones. Because it was later in the thing because they were getting ready to do something huge.
Yeah. Oh, and towards like the end of the main story, You rob a train with like the whole gang. Kind of near the end.
Like the last.
Yeah.
Well, not with all the money on it.
Yeah. And that's it, really.
I really like that in Red Dead 2, I think it's the last train or the second one, where you can go back in online and see the train down in the ditch. And like you can explore it and find little treasures and stuff, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. All right. Bank robbers and the move to cities. As America urbanized, crime followed. Banks centralized wealth, jewelry stores centralized value. Outlaws moved from horses to planning. This era introduces blueprints, timed vaults, lookouts, and safe houses. It's no longer desperation, it's logistics. By the early 1900s, the outlaw is no longer roaming wilderness, they're hiding in cities. And then the car shows up.
You know, I'm not going to lie, since we were talking about Red Dead, if I was born back then and I was going to be an outlaw, I'd be a horse outlaw. You know how much money you can get for people's horses back then? Holy shit. I would definitely be a horse robber. Horse kidnapper? Horse thief?
Would be a horse thief.
Whatever the word is. What would you do?
I'd probably do bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter?
Just because I like doing it in Red Dead Online. Bounty hunting.
I mean, how much fun can it... I mean, how... Let me rephrase that. It's got to be a lot of fun knowing that you can legally hunt down somebody.
Yeah, I mean, technically you still can do it this day and age.
Oh, yeah.
Like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
You can... Texas has made it legal for the common person to go hunt down the kids on the Amber Alerts.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They've made it legal now.
Hey, if I get paid to do it, fuck it.
You get paid a lot.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Not like you don't have the munitions to fucking do it.
I would need to buy more.
Walk around with a fucking mini cannon.
Yeah.
So, cars changed everything more than guns ever did.
Are we...
What?
Are we going to talk about people later in the
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
Yeah, we actually, I brought up a lot of cases, including the one you talked about, which is also, funny enough, our fail number 1. Because I went ahead, so just so everybody listening and you. So when I was doing the research, I went ahead and did like all of the information like this, where I've kind of sprinkled in names, but at the end I'm also doing like lesser known cases, and then also like the big risk, big fails.
Okay.
That way we kind of get both sides of the coins. Okay, so cars changed everything more than guns ever did. Suddenly, escapes were faster, jurisdiction lines mattered less, and police couldn't keep up. Enter, left stage, Bonnie and Clyde. They weren't brilliant criminals, they were reckless, but they understood image. Photos of Bonnie holding a cigar and a gun turned her into a cultural icon. Newspapers ate it up. America was in the Great Depression and people wanted rebels. But here's the reality. Their crimes were violent, messy, and often pointless. And their deaths were brutal, because by now law enforcement had learned something critical. Outlaws survive on hesitation. So hesitation ended. So, talking about Bonnie and Clyde, there was a while, for quite a long time, that I studied Bonnie and Clyde and then all of the people that were around them during this time.
Yeah.
And like the big gangsters of the time. And there's a really, really good book. I'll try to remember what it is by the time this episode's done. That goes into a lot of really cool information about Bonnie and Clyde and Babyface and like all of them, and it goes into like very good detail and shows you pictures of crime scenes and stuff without it being like super gruesome. So
Yeah.
even somebody who has like a soft stomach could do it. It was one of the best books I've ever bought in my life.
The modern turning point. By the late 20th century, the outlaw fantasy was already dying. Surveillance cameras, radio communication, and rapid response. You couldn't disappear anymore. And then came the event that permanently shattered the old myth. The North Hollywood shootout. 2 heavily armored men walked into a bank with automatic rifles. The police show up with pistols. What follows is a prolonged gun battle that forces the officer to borrow rifles from gun stores, multiple civilian injuries, and is broadcast on live television. The outlaws weren't romantic. They weren't married. They were terrifying, and they lost. But the impact was massive. Police departments across America militarized almost overnight. The outlaw had officially lost the advantage. Let's talk about this a little more. This is fail number 1, the North Hollywood shootout. This wasn't supposed to be a shootout. The plan was to walk into a bank wearing the full body armor, use their automatic rifles to control the room, and leave before the police could organize. What went wrong was the robbery took too long, police arrived faster than expected, and the suspects underestimated how much attention automatic gunfire would draw. Critical failure points, their armor protected them, but didn't protect the limbs. They ran out of ammo, and escape routes collapsed instantly. Why it matters. The single failure permanently changed American policing. The Outlaws didn't look powerful. They looked desperate.
That's the one you were telling me about.
Yeah, there's like a whole video by Wendigoon where he talks about like the two dudes who did it before up to their crime spree, because they robbed a lot of banks doing it.
So they died obviously from this, right?
Yeah, one of them
just from
shot to death. The other one was he bled out.
I figured, especially when it words it the way it did about the armor.
Yeah.
You know quite a bit about this, so would you like to talk more about it?
I don't remember all the details, but yeah, the two dudes, one was named Emil, I don't remember the other guy's name. They kind of grew up with crime. They would, this was all obviously in California. They met up together, they started doing crimes. Their like MO was body armor that they sewn into clothes. They had like quite a few full auto weapons. But at the time they did this, they were already felons, so they couldn't have weapons anyways. But of course, criminals don't follow the law. They get their hands on anything.
Which is why I don't understand the whole let's ban guns in America. No, the criminals are starting a criminal. Like I don't know why y'all aren't picking this up.
Yeah. They had a couple of AKs, a G3 clone, like a bunch of handguns.
So they were ready
they were armed to the teeth. On their escape, when they went into the bank, they were spotted by a police officer. That's why the police showed up faster than they expected.
Did they not notice that?
Nope.
Oh shit.
Yeah. They were spotted by a police officer going into the bank. I don't think they even really got much anyways out of it. They left. There was already a police swarm outside. And at the time, police officers only had pistols. So two robbers armed to the teeth and heavily armored were outgunning the police for a while. But as their getaway car had 2 flat tires, so they could only drive it so far. Because after the shooting started, they didn't get very far.
Okay.
So they ditched it. They started running through some neighborhoods. They got separated. One of them got a pickup truck, but he also had the wheel shot out on that one. The other guy, he was having troubles with his G3 clone because a pistol round hit where the magazine clips in to the rifle, so he couldn't fix the jam that he was having, and he couldn't unload it, so he ditched it. They got to a point where he was hiding behind a car, and the police officers got under the car and shot him in the legs.
Oh fuck!
And I think he was bleeding out. Because I don't remember all the details. One of them did bleed out to death, and the other one was shot to death.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, you had shown me that they fired over almost 2,000 rounds during.
They shot a lot of ammo. Yeah.
That's a lot of ammo.
It is a lot of ammo. I aspire to have that much ammo
at
one
my
time. So that happened, like, at that time, so the police only had pistols, so they were borrowing shotguns and rifles from local gun stores.
Yeah.
And after this whole thing happened, police departments were look at it and like, well, this is clearly a fault on us for not being prepared. So every cop from then on has like a patrol rifle in their vehicle, or a patrol rifle or a shotgun or something with range, more than just their pistols. I don't know where. I'm assuming in Hollywood. There's a museum exhibit where you can see their outfits they wore and the weapons they had with them.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but it was like under an hour the whole thing happened, and they were playing it live on TV too, so you could probably find clips of it on YouTube or somewhere on the internet.
Okay. So that is our first fail and first case, really. So towards the end, we'll go over more of the failures. That kind of reminds me of a movie that I saw that had... Who's the Irish man? The Irish actor.
Robert De Niro?
No, he's Irish.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
That,
he
from
plays
like the show
in...
The Irishman?
No, he plays in the Phantom of the Opera, too.
Well, there's a bank robbery movie that I know of.
This guy. It has Gerard Butler in it as the cop. And Den of Thieves.
Den of Thieves?
Yeah, that kind of reminds me, because at the very last bank that they try to rob, it pretty much follows exactly what you just said. And the last guy standing is this guy. This guy right here.
Yeah.
And
50 cents in it.
yeah, he is. Ray Merriman. There we go. He is the last guy standing, and he has the same kind of like in shootout as the guy that got his leg shot out.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny when you were describing it. This is the movie I could think of. It's a good movie though.
There's another good movie about bank robbers called Heat, which is also based off a real police or a real bank robber.
That's cool.
And it's a very good movie. That I haven't seen it, but from what I've seen online, the gunplay in that movie is very, very good. I should watch it eventually at some point.
We should. Next movie night. Okay. Why it's a different game now versus before. Modern outlaws now face facial recognition, license plate tracking, cell phone pings, and financial surveillance. There's no disappearing into the sunset. There is only time, evidence, and inevitability. Which is why modern outlaws often aren't robbers. They're hackers, fraudsters, smugglers, or digital criminals. The rebellion moved online.
Outlaws in movies, games, and music. Despite reality killing the fantasy, we refuse to let it die. Movies still glorify heist, last stands, and criminal loyalty. Games like Red Dead Redemption let us live in a world where escape is still possible. Music, especially outlaw country and certain rap subgenres, keeps the identity alive. Because the outlaw isn't about crime, it's about defiance.
What are some movies that you can name that you really like that follow this? Because I'm going to say The Italian Jobs are some of my favorites because they are heists. They're some of my favorites. And then, like, the movie that I just talked about is really good. Almost fell out of my chair.
I haven't really watched a whole lot of movies with heists, or like where that's like the central focus. I know of movies with it, like Reservoir Dogs.
I've heard of that one.
The opening scene in The Dark Knight, the one with the Joker. Heat.
Technically, the one with Nicolas Cage was a heist. The one with the...
Where they steal the Declaration?
Yeah. It was technically a heist.
National Treasure. Yeah, it is a heist because they're stealing. But I wouldn't really call them outlaws because they're more or less trying to find... I forgot what they were trying to find in that movie.
Yeah, I don't remember. All I remember is the national...
I remember the nerdy hacker dude, the whammy.
They were trying to find
Cage.
the... Who does the Assassin's Creed guy fight in the first, like, 2 games?
The Templars?
Yes. They were trying to find the Templars' treasure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's been a minute since I've watched that movie.
No, I mean, it's a heist, but I don't really think they'd be outlaws.
Yeah. That's about it. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. Like I said, the Italian Jobs are kind of my big thing. The Ocean's 11, those movies. Those are technically outlaws, I would say.
Yeah.
Because they do big bank robbing and just, like, robbing in general and heists. So I feel like they'd be a good outlaw group.
Yeah. That's what we got for movies. Not really sure about anything with TV shows.
There's
I
a lot
don't
of
really
games.
watch a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, there's a lot of games for it, but they're more just bank robbers and...
Yeah, so games I can think of, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Obviously, yeah.
As we talked about it already, with the robbing the trains, stagecoaches. You rob a bank in a city too.
Wasn't that Valentine that they did that?
Well, Valentine and Saint Denis.
Oh yeah, they did do the Saint Denis one, didn't they?
Right before they go to Guarma.
Guarma.
Does this boat go to Tahiti? GTA.
Yeah, big time GTA.
I think starting at like 4. I played 3, but that one was kind of.
I don't remember
difficult.
if you do it in
San Andreas. I don't think you do.
I mean, you rob people, but I don't think you really rob a bank. You steal the train, though. You do steal the train. I remember that part.
Yeah. GTA 4, the last mission I played before I stopped playing it, we were robbing a bank. GTA 5, you're always doing some kind of heist, doing all kinds of crazy shit.
That's all I got.
Payday 2, all about.
Oh yeah, you
all
played
about robbing banks, doing all kinds of crimes, mostly drug and money stuff, but you do break some people out of police custody. There's other games where you can do like outlaw things, but that's not like the main focus.
Yeah, that's all I got. I'm not big onto the games that go into stuff like this, so I don't got much.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can think of any more, we'll bring them up later.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars has plenty of outlaw characters. There's a lot of shows where there's characters that are outlaws, but that they're not like the main focus.
Yeah. Okay, so next we're going to start going into cases. These are just general cases. Some are lesser known, some you might know. The first one is Sam Bass, the accidental folk hero. Sam didn't start as an outlaw. He was a gambler, a drifter, a guy who consistently made the wrong bet. His outlaw career began almost by accident. Bass and his gang robbed a Union Pacific train expecting modest payroll, but instead they stumbled onto a shipment of newly minted gold coins. Overnight, Bass became one of the most wanted men in America. What made him different was he avoided killing, he mocked authority publicly, and he became a press darling. Texas Rangers hunted him relentlessly. His death came after a betrayal by his own gang, shot and left bleeding for days. Small detail, Texas Ranger Frank Jackson was so obsessed with Bass that he memorized his walking style to recognize him from afar. Bass's legend exploded after death, a pattern you'll see repeatedly.
Number 2, Belle Star, the female outlaw myth. Belle Star wasn't the bandit queen newspapers made her out to be, but she leaned into the persona hard. She associated with criminals, sheltered fugitives, and was arrested multiple times. Yet no major crime was ever definitely proven. Why she matters: she weaponized image, she used gender expectations to her advantage, and she showed how association alone can make you an outlaw. Her murder remains unsolved. The modern theory is Belle may have been killed by someone she blackmailed, not a lawman. She proves the outlaw myth doesn't require crime, only perception.
A good movie that has an outlaw in it, but is not only about the outlaw, is Holes.
Yeah.
Kissing Kate Barlow.
I watched Holes.
I love Holes.
We read the book too.
I love Holes. It's a good movie. I've watched it like so many times. It's ridiculous. Anyways, number 3, Black Bart, the Gentleman Bandit. Black Bart robbed stagecoaches without firing a single shot. Instead, he wore a flour sack mask, used fake shotguns made from sticks, and left poetry behind at crime scenes. Yes, you heard that right, poetry. He relied entirely on intimidation and planning, and he was captured because he left a handkerchief with a laundry mark. That tiny detail ended his career, a perfect early example of forensic slip-ups.
Oh, pirates. They're outlaws.
Yeah, they are technically, aren't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah.
Kind of back and forth.
They
Definitely the first one, I think.
Yeah, with
They stole a boat.
Crew of the Black Pearl, but then they got more into the
Actual pirating of it all.
mythical. Well, they got more into like the supernatural stuff with the movies. John Dillinger, the Blueprint Criminal.
I know about this one.
Dillinger wasn't just robbing banks; he was studying them. He escaped jail multiple times, used fake guns carved from wood, and exploited police complacency. His gang scouted banks for weeks beforehand. What made him terrifying is he understood systems and he humiliated law enforcement publicly. His death outside a theater marked the beginning of the end of public sympathy for outlaws. The FBI learned image control mattered as much as bullets.
Number 5. Pretty Boy Floyd, Depression-era Robin Hood. Floyd became a hero because banks were the villain. He allegedly destroyed mortgage records, targeted abusive institutions, and helped locals financially. Reality check was that many claims were exaggerated or false, but during the Depression, people wanted to believe. His death was an execution, not a shootout, which only amplified his legend.
Willie Sutton, the quote that never happened. You know the quote, because that's where the money is. He never said it. But Sutton was brilliant. Disguises, inside help, calm, and surgical robberies. He stole millions without violence, and he represents the professional outlaw, not the reckless one.
Number 7. The Brinks Robbery, the perfect heist that failed. The Brinks robbery was nearly flawless. Months of surveillance, no shots fired, and $2.7 million stolen. Why they got caught was that they waited too long to spend the money. Greed plus patience, imbalance, killed the crew. This case becomes the blueprint for modern heist movies.
Number 8, Frank Abagnale Jr., the paper outlaw. No guns, no masks, just paperwork. He forged checks, airline credentials, and medical licenses. He exploited trust systems, not vaults. This marks a massive shift. The outlaw no longer needs violence, only access.
That sounds like the movie with, who's the dude who never got a Grammy? Leonardo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can.
Never seen it.
Oh, dude, it's a really good movie. He basically does the same thing. He found out that he was very charming at a young age and used that in his, to his benefit. He would forge checks. He would forge, like, licenses that he had. So, for instance, he would, at one point said he was a pilot. And so he would make checks in his bathtub or in his bathroom at the hotels. And he would cash them at banks in, like, full pilot getup. And then he would fly as if he was a pilot getting on a connecting flight for free to another part of the country and do it again. And he kept doing that. And he did all sorts of other things. And he had the FBI chasing him down as he's doing this.
Really?
It's a really good movie. Number 9, Hatton Garden Heist, Old Men and Old Crimes. Elderly criminals using outdated methods, and it worked. They used drills, avoided digital alarms, and relied on analog systems. They were caught, though, because they talked too much afterwards, a reoccurring theme.
You know, old people do like to talk about everything.
They do.
The digital outlaw era. No names on purpose. Modern outlaws don't want fame. They launder through crypto, use burner phones, and operate globally. They don't get movies. They get indictments. Indictments?
Indictments, yeah.
Indictments. And that's the final evolution.
Now, moving to our fails. We've already had the first fail, which was the North Hollywood. And we have technically talked a little bit about the second fail, which was the Brinks robbery. That was where ideology meets reality, and it wasn't the greed, it was the political extremism. The robbers were heavily armed, planned to clean ambush, and believed ideology would justify just violence. But what went wrong was that a guard was killed immediately, which caused police response escalating instantly, and the robbers panicked and lost control. The highest risk factor here was they assumed fear would slow down law enforcement, but it did the opposite. The aftermath was that there were multiple deaths, life sentences, no myth, no romance, just terror. This marked the moment when public sympathy for armed robbers collapsed.
Fail 3, the Great Train Robbery. The heist worked, the aftermath didn't. This one is fascinating because the robbery itself was flawless. Detailed planning, inside information, and no shots fired. Their failures was the gang hid together, they used stolen money too early, and one member left fingerprints on a Monopoly board. Alright. Why it failed. They survived the heist but failed life afterward. Proves something that crime isn't the hard part, getting away with it forever is.
Did I tell you, this completely sidetracked, but this reminded me, did I tell you that a 80-year-old woman got taken to jail, or arrested and taken to jail last year for a crime she committed 60 years ago where she killed her first husband?
Really?
It took them that long, 60 years, to find it. And her mugshot, she's grinning like a fucking skunk. It is the funniest thing. But the getting away with it forever was what reminded me of that. Number 4, the United California bank robbery, when ambition outpaced intelligence. The goal was to be one of the largest cash robberies in the U.S. history. The problem, though, they didn't understand how modern banks tracked money. Some of their mistakes were using serial tracked bills, leaving behind microscopic evidence, and trusted too many accomplices. Their high-risk element was they stole more money than they could safely move. The crime worked, the escape did not.
Number 5, Hatton Garden Heist. Old men, old tricks, new world. This one should have failed immediately. Instead, they bypassed modern alarms using outdated methods, drilled through reinforced concrete, and avoided digital detection. They failed because they talked and argued and bragged. High-risk mistake was their egos. They survived the break-in, not their own mouths.
Again, old men doing old men shit.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, Securitas Depot robbery, the illusion of control. This was one of the largest cash heists in history. The plan was to kidnap employees' families, force cooperation, and control every variable. What went wrong was that there were too many moving parts, too many people involved, and too much money to disappear with. The high-risk reality was the bigger the score, the shorter the freedom. Several conspirators were caught simply because they couldn't stay quiet.
Why these fails hit harder. They weren't sloppy criminals. They were confident, armed, planned, and experienced, and they still lost. Because at a certain level of risk, failure becomes inevitable.
Every outlaw story ends the same way, either with a grave, a prison number, or a cautionary tale.
Closing. The last outlaw. The outlaw didn't vanish. They just stopped being able to win. And maybe that's why we keep telling their stories, because they represent a version of rebellion that no longer exists. A time when someone could disappear into dust instead of a database.
Now, we are at the end of our episode. I would like to say thank you for coming back. We know we've been gone for, 3 weeks now?
Quite a while.
So some things have happened. Obviously, it was the holidays. It was Thanksgiving, and now it's coming into Christmas. But during this time, we ended up moving. So we spent a lot of time packing and getting into the new place, which that is where we are now. As you can tell, it's a lot quieter on the background noise. You don't hear cats screaming.
Well, Cheese did, or one of them.
I think it was Cheese.
One of them did like a bit ago, but they haven't really done anything since.
Yeah. We now technically have a dedicated space for our podcast, which is great, which means, again, less background noise. We're going to come back to doing this once a week, as we said before we went on break, and we're probably going to stick with Sundays. If you have any ideas or stories or anything that you would like to send to us, you can send it to echosofthepast.pod@gmail.com. You can message us on Instagram. If you follow us on Facebook, you can message us there, and we'll incorporate it. If you have any ideas, let us know. Otherwise, please like and subscribe and send it to your best friend, because everybody needs a little bit of history information, right?
Yeah. Because if people had more, people would be less ignorant.
And less things will keep repeating in history itself.
Yeah, but no one lives long enough to see it anyways.
I don't know about that. Anyways, so yeah, thank y'all for sticking with us and coming back and, not having a riot in the streets when we weren't here for 3 weeks.
Thanks for wandering through history with us on Echoes of the Past.
If you liked what you heard, subscribe, rate us, and tell that one friend who still quotes fun facts at parties.
And remember, history may repeat itself.
But we promise not to.
See you in the next Echo.